The statement by the Republican National Committee arguing that the January 6th insurrection was legitimate political discourse has sparked a renewed conversation on whether Donald Trump's Make America Great Again movement is a cult. MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell gives his examination of the issue. Take a look.
You know, the C in RNC doesn't stand for committee, it stands for cult. It's not the Republican National Committee, it's the Republican National Cult.
They seem to have reached rock bottom with their statement that what happened on January 6th was normal political discourse. I say this to Republicans all the time. Take back your party from this cult.
Is it a cult or is it stupidity? And what's the difference? Today, the cult that Congressman Jeffries and Speaker Pelosi are referring to produced two new stunning displays of stupidity. One on video and another in a tweet. First, the video.
Now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress, spying on the legislative work that we do, spying on our staff, and spying on American citizens that want to come talk to their representatives.
Now, we're all capable of misspeaking at any moment. I do it with names sometimes right here on this show. I recently called Daniel Goldman, who I know very well, David Goldman. That stuff happens. The problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene is that there is no evidence that she actually knew the word Gestapo when she said the word gazpacho. If she knew both words and how to use them properly, then what happened was just one brain cell misfiring at the wrong moment. But there is plenty of evidence to suggest that Marjorie Taylor Greene is so utterly ignorant, not just about Nazi Germany, but about everything. Joining us now is Dr. Lance Dotis, a former assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Dotis is a contributor to the best-selling book, The Dangerous Case of Donald Trump. 37 psychiatrists and mental health experts assess a president. What do you see in all of this?
Well, I think that the word cult is probably correct. That what a cult is, especially a charismatic cult, which is the kind we're talking about here, where you have an all-powerful leader, Trump, who is seen as a godlike figure. Those cults are self-contained intentionally. If you're in one, you are required to believe the belief system of the group. And a part of that, which is important to understand, is that you are also required to deny or ignore or attack those people who would challenge the belief system of the group, which is exactly what we see from many of these Trump followers who simply act as though they cannot hear, and they attack those people who challenge it, as happened to Liz Cheney. The advantage of being in such a group is that you have an echo chamber of people who are admiring you and affirming you. It's a self-affirming system. Everyone agrees on the same things, and they all follow and worship the leader. On the other hand, to stand up against that, therefore, means that you are an outcast. You're a pariah. You get thrown out of the group. You get yourself attacked. Another advantage of being in the group is that you are seen as superior to the outsiders.
Yahoo Entertainment reports that former Stop the Steal supporter Keith Scott appeared Wednesday with CNN's Elle Reeve, where he spoke about how he became deeply devoted to the movement that spread lies about the 2020 presidential election, culminating in the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Scott, who was there that day but did not take part in the attack, said, "January 6, 2021 was the greatest day of my life. I felt like a patriot that was standing beside our founding fathers, speaking up against King George. I felt like Braveheart," he said. But the violence that ensued that day caused Scott to reflect. He said, "After January 6th, I came here and I kept mumbling, I feel like I just got out of a cult." Scott had spent months living out of his car, attending as many rallies as he could, despite never having even been to a Trump rally leading up to the election. Scott said, "If something was posted saying there was a rally, like, I was not in control. I was going no matter what. How did I get caught up in this? I'd never been to a Trump rally, I wasn't one of those people." Scott also pointed out that he came to notice that those promising evidence of election fraud never produced any evidence whatsoever. The people that were giving evidence of election fraud, it was the same message that we had heard a day before or weeks before. But it was like, it's coming, it's going to be revealed. Like, just keeping us holding on for the next breath. But Scott doesn't blame those promising evidence without ever producing it, or the Stop the Steal organizers for the violence at the Capitol. They created a grassroots movement that was Stop the Steal, Scott said. I realized I'd been addicted to politics. I had created this reverence for the leaders of Stop the Steal. I felt like I was, which is more than ironic looking back, helping prevent a second civil war, he said. Despite calling the movement a cult, Scott still adheres to some of its beliefs, like blaming both sides for the violence at the Capitol. Though he doesn't feel as welcome as he once did, Scott still sometimes attends rallies, but now carries with him a flag promoting his website, electionfraudcult.com. He's also writing a book chronicling his experiences, hoping to help others who find themselves in the same situation in which he had found himself. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to visit us at rawstory.com. And if you'd like to see more of the Raw Report, please like and subscribe, and join others who like their news raw too.